what the foods do, what they prevent, what they aid in, healing, parasite control, all that. I don't know how many of us did a lot of research on this to get, to where we're at for feeding our fish, but you know how I feel about it. I think it's one of the most important things is feeding your fish, because you know what happens if you don't feed them. First off, freshwater fish absorb through the skin and through the scales. Saltwater fish don't, they drink. So they drink the water that they're in, they process out the salt, they absorb the oxygen through their gills, so forth and so on. So in that, things we put in the water, they're consuming it. So we're going to touch on water chemistry a little bit, not a whole lot. We are going to touch on some water chemistry. The oxygen in the water is actually a gas. It's an oxygen gas. It's dissolved in the water. The fish, breathe in the water. They have layers in their gills, filter out the oxygen, and then they return the CO2 back into the water, just like we do with our, we breathe in and out. So foods are going to be your major source, because these don't have what the fish really need in them. Well, mine does, but the rest of them don't. You want to be in charge of the phone, Tyler? This house is all right. Obviously, there's more air content or more oxygen content in air than in water. Same thing though. In and out, just like the fish. So the chemistry of the water is very important. We're going to start with Zocon. That seems to be one of the main ones. I'm sure you've all seen it. Lipids. That's the main thing in here is lipids. Lipids are fatty acids, mainly found in cold water fish and algae. You can get them from, it does come from algae, like phytoplankton. So you're going to find lipids are actually the fatty acids, omega-3s, that are a huge source for these fish. And all the food processes, none of the dry foods, the flake foods, the pellets, none of that have the fatty acids in it. So we have to give it to them. The only ones that really have it are planktons and mysis. The brine, are pretty much frozen brine, is 80% water. There's not much protein left in it once it's processed and frozen. They pack it in water, so there's just not much left in it. That's really not even a good staple food. It's just it's a good way to get them to start to eat. So what we want to do, we want to soak our foods, even if they've already got the fatty acids in them, we want to soak them with these omega-3s. So that we're giving them these fatty acids, the omega-3, which aids in, stimulates growth, repairs fin damage, and gets them bulked up so they can fight off any of these parasites and so forth that they come in with our shipping. The omega-3s also help with the function of the heart, the cardiovascular, brain activity. They help with the nervous system, and they also help with the covering over the eyes. So these acids are like, it's a full rounded, this is one of the main ones, is going to be this one. So we want to do our food soak with Zocon. You can do it a couple of different ways. Hey guys. Everybody uses mysis. So I use mysis for a beginning. Everyone uses it. Well, most people. We take our mysis around here, we do a lot. We got a lot of fish. Since this is not pre-strained, and Vicari is the cleanest one on the market, it's the cleanest form. I know a lot of you use the Piscine. I don't sell the Piscine because it's just so soaked with byproducts, and when they process it, it's just saturated with byproducts. They claim to have the highest protein content, but that protein is not in the food. It's in the byproducts that they're packed in. So really, it's a false sense of you feeding your fish the highest protein available food on the market. It's not true. Vicari has a lower protein content, but it's an accurate protein content. It's actually the protein that's in the mysis that they're being fed. What we do, we just take, you guys know how this works, we thaw it out, give that a minute to thaw. While we're doing that, I'll start on the nori. Can I get those black scissors?
Right there. Yep.
Oh, right on. Cool. Thanks, bro. All right, another one. Everybody uses this, hopefully, especially if you have algae grazers, tangs, blennies, angels, any kind of centropyge loves this. Any tank, wrasses. I've even got triggers. I got triggers eating it. The flounder eats it. The puffer eats it. They all eat it. If you get them accustomed to it, they're going to eat it. And this is an excellent soap because it just absorbs it right in. So what you want to do, we'll usually do the nori a little different. It's obviously it doesn't need to be rinsed. I like to rinse the mycelium, but we don't rinse the nori. So we'll take again, get your Tupperware, deionized water, distilled water, RO, whatever. Do a little bit of that. I know a lot of us use the food clips, but in the wild, this stuff's not dry. You can't just stick it in there dry. They rip it, it goes into the overflow because it comes out of the clip. Clips are good, but if you're going to use them, use the ones with the mesh. You got the little mesh band, use those. Those are real good. We'll take the dough, a little shake. Now I recommend certain drops per ounces, and you can do all those equations at home. We use a lot of different foods, and we feed a lot, so yeah, I mean, you can measure it out, and you can be real accurate with it, and that's fine, but we're just going to give it a little bit in there, and I mean, it's pretty, it's kind of almost a gel. You mix it into the water good first, then we put the food in. We don't want it to be soupy. Want to make enough so it absorbs all the liquid. These food preps don't take long, and you can make enough to last 3 days. You can put it in your fridge with a lid on it, a couple, 3 times a day, feed all your algae grazers.
Hey Jeff, can you set the green thing?
Yep. We do this every day. We don't feed if it's not soaked. Cut some noodles. It's food prep. It really is. It's gonna benefit your fish greatly. And you can make a cocktail with this stuff. I mean, you can mix them together. They're designed to be put together. A lot of them have the same nutritional value and you know, B vitamins and C vitamins in them, but they also all have something a little different. So that's why we have so many. You know, it's just competition. You're all going to make them a little different so that you buy their product. Essentially, the fish need all of it. A little bit more. You want it to absorb it all, so you don't want any. Once it sucks it up, you don't want it to get soupy like that, because then it won't last the full 3 days. It'll get real mushy, and it'll just become kind of a pile in there. So we're going to put a little bit more in there, and you can determine this at home. You need to see how much your fish are going to eat in a day, how much you're going to eat in 3 days. Once you start doing this regular, they're going to start eating more. The colors are going to become more vibrant. Their immune systems are going to be built up. You're not going to be so prone to bacterial infections, lymphatosis. Any cryptocarrier irritants will have a harder time attaching to their fine coat and essentially infecting the fish, getting in the gills. It's going to help with their breathing. It doesn't take long to prep this stuff. Once you get in the routine of doing it, you'll do this 2-3 times a week. But you want just enough liquid so it soaks it all up into the seaweed. If you buy a seaweed from, if you get one from the grocery store or something, just make sure the ingredients say just seaweed. You don't want any kind of, nothing put in it. You just want it just plain dried seaweed. All right, so that's a little better. So we'll let that soak. New fish, whenever you get a new fish, you're going to want to do the cell con every day. New fish, because they're going to, they just came out of shipping. They haven't eaten for days. When they get here, we gut feed them 3 to 5 times a day.
Hey Jeff, fish know you make them.
They see it, don't they?
Yes, they do.
They know.
Look at them.
This is the same. We use these same ones every day. I mean, so these fish, they know the whole story. You've all seen me feed these fish,
yep.
And you know what they all look like. And I've got a good example in the next tank. I've got a hippo over there, and he's got some ectoparasites on him. I rescued him from a 180-gallon tank. He just was malnourished, and that's a good